Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly talk about X-Wing 2.0. Now, this particular video is specifically aimed at new players. Now, I did a video like this a while back when the game was still X-Wing 1.0, but of course Fantasy Flight, in their infinite wisdom to earn more money, have redone everything, released new models and new cards and everything else, forcing you to rebuy everything. But I'm not bitter, not at all. Anyway, hundreds of dollars later, you know how it is with miniatures. So hundreds of dollars later, I wanted to sort of rehash what I said and sort of update that video so that it's sort of modern, now that X-Wing 2.0 is a thing. And I was actually preparing to do a different kind of video. On my Discord channel, I had the suggestion made, Vince, I'd be interested in hearing your favorite chips on, how they synergize and different combos. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's something I might want to put together. And if you look here, you can see I'm actually working on that now. But then I'm like, well, what about like a general tip video first? I didn't want to do a combo video first and then a tip video for new. It seemed like it was out of order. So I just want to quickly do a quick tip video for you new players out there that are new to this game and are looking for some general advice. Now, what you won't find here are game-breaking, game-winning combinations that new players will be able to use to win every game they play. That is not the purpose of playing games in the first place. Well, at least not to me. I play to have fun. In fact, 75% of the fun when I play deck builders or squad builders like this is just coming up with the decks or the squads in this case. Even if I never play them, even if the list itself is not practical in any way and would get destroyed in actual application, I still just have fun building lists. I love it. So you're not going to find, how to win X-Wing 2.0 here. I just want to just go over some general tips for new players that may help you get acclimated into the game a bit easier. And I'm not going to say get good either because, flying in this game is a whole skill to learn. That's not something that is a tip. That's just something that you learn over time. It's experience-based. These things that I'm about to tell you might help you learn things a bit easier. So tip number one, stick to ships that are independent of each other. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say you've got ship A, maybe an X-Wing, that has the ability, if a friendly ship in range 0 to 1 is then give it a focus. Or if this ship is if a friendly ship is in range 2 to 3 or 0 to 3 of another friendly ship, blah, 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 then you can do this. That is difficult for a new player, in my opinion, because they're not used to flying yet. They don't know how to fly in formation. It's very easy to get separated in X-Wing, especially when you're dealing with obstacles. And then you're trying to figure out, okay, now my ships are split up. How do I get them to fly together again so that their abilities start to complement and synergize with each other? Don't bother with that as a new player, in my opinion. Stick to ships that have independent skills so that if they do get separated, no big deal. They still work. Their abilities still work. For example, Wedge Antilles is an X-Wing pilot. His ability is, if you're attacking someone in your arc there, the defender, rules 1 less defense die or something like that. That's huge. And you don't need a friendly ship nearby for that to kick in. That's just automatic. So you, as a new player, should be looking for pilots that are self-sufficient on their own so that you don't have to worry about flying in formation. It's hard enough figuring out, oh, this is the activation phase now. Oh, now this is the engagement phase, and now it's in this pilot skill order rather than this pilot skill order. And oh wait, the system phase is where I decloak, or the system phase is where I drop. Your mind is boggled enough with all the different rules. And yes, I'm Italian. You have to excuse the hands. But yeah, I think there's enough rules in X-Wing to keep you busy enough to have to, worry about coordinating, okay, your forces. So my advice is stick to ships that are independent, okay? I think it'll help you learn the game a bit easier. Another thing to think about, when you're ready to start flying in formation, pick ships with the same dial. X-Wings have the same dial, Y-Wings have the same dial, A-Wings have the same. Don't go X-Wing, Y-Wing, A-Wing, and then try and get them to fly together, because the A-Wing is a lot more maneuverable than the Y-Wing is. So if you're going to practice flying in formation, pick the same chassis, pick the same ship class, 2 X-Wings or 2 A-Wings. Just get them used to turning, I'm going to turn, they're parallel to each other, I'm going to do two of the same turn this way. Oh, wait, how come this one here crashed into this one? What happened? I did the same maneuver. Oh, it's the corners. The corners give different dimensions based... You know what I mean? So, like, these are things you just have to think about. So just pick the same chassis, and you'll figure out the rest later. Okay, that's tip number 2. Tip number 3. The standard squad size is 200. I say screw that. It's your game. You do what you want. 50 points. Give yourself 50 points. Give your opponent 50 points. Maybe an X-Wing. Or maybe 2 low-skilled X-Wings against 2 TIE Fighters or 3 TIE Fighters, something like that. Just simple. Keep it simple. The less ships that are out there on the board, the less you have to worry about. The less abilities you have to remember. You can focus more on the rules and the correct turn order and when things happen when. You can do all of that more if you're not worried about, oh, this is my 8th ship I'm moving this turn. Did I remember to do this? Did I remember to do that? I don't remember anymore. No, just stick to crazy, simple, low squad. And again, you're not playing in a tournament if this is your first time playing. Just have fun with it. Pick 1 or 2 ships and that's it. And then get used to how they fly. Get used to their abilities. And along those same lines, focus on, like, and this is something I did with a couple of friends of mine. I was teaching X-Wing with them. I purposely picked ships that had similar abilities. I did not pick ships that utilized a whole bunch of different tokens. For example, the TIE Phantom can cloak. Cloaking is its own token. The B-Wing can use a tractor token, depending on the heavy weapon they have equipped. Or, there's the reinforced token. There's jamming. There's all these other things besides focus and evade and target locks. Your standard actions, target lock, evade, focus. Those are standard. But then you've got your jam. You've got your, all these other things I listed. Don't introduce them all in one game. Pick one new concept, pick one ship that has that new token and introduce it, and then just play around with it for a little bit. And then on your next game, push it off to the side, introduce a new one. Do jam this game. Figure out how jam works. Just mess around with it. And then on your next game, oh, okay, how about this reinforce? Let's see how that works. Pick the decimator or whatever large ship, and the Azatec gunship has, I think, reinforce on it. Pick a ship with reinforce on it and just see how that works and get used to that. Then you can start, doing, okay, we'll try 2 abilities aside from focus, evade, and target lock this game and see how that works. So start slow, work your way up. Don't introduce a whole bunch of different tokens at once and different abilities. That just confuses you as a new player, in my opinion. Keep it as less complicated as possible, which is why that gets back to my original point, tip number 3, low squad totals. Low squad totals will ensure that you don't have too many crazy things going on. Tip number 4, worry less about abilities on cards and more about the ship stats that you're picking. Every ship, and as an example, I'll just pull up one here. Wedge Antilles. I'm going to go ahead and just zoom that up here. They have 4 values on them. Well, 5 if you count the pilot skill, and that's important. Because as you know, as a new player, or may not know, pilot skill determines when you go first and when you go last and in between, depending on when you're moving and when you're shooting, okay? Activating versus engagement phase. But anyway, there are stats along the bottom of the card. There's the red 3, the green 2, the yellow 4, the blue 2. The first value, the red one, is attack value. That's how many dice you roll to attack. The green number is for defense. That's how many you roll for defense. And then the yellow is your hull value, and the blue is your shield value. Make note of these, okay? Yes, the abilities are cool, but these stats are very important too. As an example, let's say that you build a squad, and you look and, oh, it's Luke Skywalker. I want to fly Luke Skywalker. Let's add all this junk onto Luke Skywalker. Oh, now he's 125 points out of the 200 that I have. So now I've got Luke Skywalker and some other ship. Now you've got this Luke Skywalker with a gazillion abilities. Now, what does that get you? Okay, what does that get you? If you have 2 ships out there, at most, Luke Skywalker can shoot 3 dice like Wedge Antilles here. It's an X-Wing, okay? So, there's big, same deal, 3 attack dice. But what I'm saying is, if you've got Luke, that's 3 attack dice, plus the other ship that you took. Let's say you took a Y-Wing, which is 2 attack dice. If you just have those 2 ships, you're, at most, going to throw 5 attack dice every round. Now, compare that with a list that has 4 X-Wings of lower tier, like rookie pilots, ones that are cheaper, okay? That is the same stats. 3 attack, 3 attack, 3... That's 12 dice that you're potentially throwing every round compared to 5, okay? So it's important to look at these stats, too, and go, okay, you know what? This list sounds cool, but how many dice am I attacking with every round? You know what I mean? And look at your shield and hull values, too. I just picked all ships that have maybe two shields and 2 hull. You know, if you decide to play with a bunch of Z95 headhunters, for example, look at that. It's 2, 2, 2, 2 across the board. Let's see you've got a bunch of those. You know, 2 shield, 2 hull, 2 defense. They're going to go down very quickly. Yeah, they're cheap, but they go down very quickly. So if you have a bunch of those, you're going to fall, they're just going to drop like flies, unless you're really lucky with your dice. So that's what I'm saying. Like, these are things that you're going to want to pay attention to when you're building your squad, because, yeah, you can concentrate on synergy and figure out combos, but at the end of the day, if you're only rolling 5 dice every round against your opponent, and he's rolling like 15 against you, who's going to win that? I'm just saying, who's going to win that? So you really need to think about, you know, the dice too, the amount of dice that you get, your action economy, you know what I mean? You really need to think about that. You know, yes, building combos is cool, but you also need to worry about attacking and defending too, you know what I mean? So that would be tip number 4. Okay, so tip number 5, using an online squad builder to help you see all of those different numbers and their abilities before you actually start dirtying up your cards. If you're going to use Tabletop Simulator like I do to play with your friends, then this is the way to go. I'm sorry, Fantasy Flight, but your X-Wing app sucks. I'm just going to put it out there. It sucks. I use YASB 2.0. And it's cool because you can log in, you can save your builds. I'm going to go ahead and load a squad here. These are training squads that I used with my friends. For example, I built a 132-point squad, and they had a 200-point squad, so there was a handicap of about 68 points there. And that's fine. I don't mind that. It's a teaching game. I don't want them to feel like they're overwhelmed and that they're getting crushed. I want them to have a good time, and I don't care if I lose. You know, I'm teaching them something that I'm passionate about. I think it's a win-win anyway. So you can select a ship. You pick a faction on the very top there. You select the ship that you want via this drop down, and then you assign, you know, various upgrades to it. And I like on the right-hand side, you can actually see what the upgrade does. And what's even cooler still is that if you pick a ship that has bombs on it, I'll see if I can find one. The Alpha Class Star Wing, perhaps. No, surprisingly, no, they don't have bombs. Let's take a look at the Punisher. Yeah, payload upgrade. Seismic charges. On the bottom left, it actually tells you what happens when the bomb detonates. Okay, that's really cool. On the right-hand side, you can see what to do with it to activate it, but then on the bottom left, it tells you what happens when it does blow up or whatnot. I love that. It's very helpful. So when you're done building your squad, you can hit the Print Export button, and on the very bottom of the screen, you'll see a number of different tabs. There's Simple, Fancy, text. What's important is TTS for Tabletop Simulator. You can copy and paste that into X-Wing 2.0 and it'll spawn all the ships for you. You can also use XWS, which is another way to copy and paste. Between XWS and TTS, those are just different formats that you can use to export your lists. So I highly recommend giving this a go. The only thing that I don't like about it, there was another squad builder I had featured in my old video that actually showed you, all of the stats, on the screen all at once. Here, you actually have to hover over TIE Fighter to see, oh, it's 2 attack dice on the right, 3 green defense, 3 yellow hulls, 0 shields. But at a glance, like if I just hover on my mouse, I can see, okay, this is 2 attack dice, 2 attack, that's 4, that's 7, that's 9. So I have 9 attack dice roughly every round. So you can, if you just do the mental math, you can figure it out. But this will quickly let you see what you have and whether or not your action economy is any good, whether or not certain abilities don't jive right. So I highly recommend YASB 2.0. Just Google it. If I remember, I'll put a link in the below description for you. So there you go. That was 5 not so quick tips on, X-Wing 2.0. Hopefully you beginners out there will benefit from this. I do plan to release a couple more videos. If they're popular, great. The next video I plan to release are some general combos / synergies for the Rebels. I was taking a look at, again, the request on Discord. Hey, can you possibly create some kind of video that goes over your favorite combos? And I'm like, yeah, great. And then I started looking at the Rebels to start, and I'm like, there's at least 12 ships here that I can think of that with great synergies. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just do a Rebel video. So that's what I'm working on now. And maybe if I have time, I'll do an Imperial one and then, go on from there. But we'll see. But if you guys are interested in seeing more of these kinds of videos, then join my Discord server. Just leave a suggestion. And I'll entertain it, of course, because I really enjoy X-Wing 2.0. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. And have a good day. Take care.